One of the things I've been talking about since I started this channel, which is like 6 years ago. So, and I always said men are emotional, which is we express it differently than others. And I continuously talk about how men being are emotional, but and I explained it how I feel like women just wants to see men cry, but when you see a man cry, y'all don't kind of respect it. Y'all just look at it as vulnerability. And also the other thing that it don't we don't get talk a lot, but um the term man up or manning up or sucking that shit up. Now, um there's a lot of people who's just like, oh, a lot of what I've noticed, especially in this generation, that a lot of people don't like the term "oh man up" or stop crying or what the fucking crying for and all that other stuff. When a kid does show emotions, it was just like, oh, we bottle that shit up. Now, I've always said sometimes I've never had the problem with the term manning up or telling people to bottle their shit up or any of those because sometimes or even this when like most people have a problems and you're like and the dude says you got to see that shit through or you got to just buck up and get through it. Like a lot of people answer don't like that because you know that's the answer. You don't want to hear it, and I think what the thing is with that one is just um they're not looking for an answer. But I think most people look for a battery in their back. But I feel like as men, this is how we put the battery in your back to tell you, yo, you gotta push through that shit and just do it. It's just like, oh man, like I gotta work this double overtime just to make sure I get my bills paid. Well, you know what you gotta do. You gotta push through that shit just to get it done. So go do it. And as men, as most men, they know that. I guess they don't like hearing that. And the thing is, as men, we have to. It's the answer. It was like it's the answer. Like I don't know if like you expect someone to just give you the money to pay for you don't have to do it, but the shit don't work like that. So I think a lot of people do get mad because manning up is the answer. I tell people it's just like I don't have a problem with the term manning up or man up because that's something you got to do. I do, and I've said this many times. You have to instill some toughness into your kid. I feel now the problem is that we don't take our time to reflect on it, or we don't take our time to learn from it, like game tape. Like when you play basketball and you want to see how well you do, you watch game tape and you see your mistakes and you see how you acted. We don't really do that for our emotions. I think that's why a lot of men get angry or we bottle up our emotions. We don't really get to talk or express our emotions. Yeah, there's sometimes we do push through it and sometimes we do man up, but it's just like we don't get time to sit there and recollect and just like, damn, how do I bottle this up or some shit? Some I think some do, but most people don't. We just go on with the next one. We don't really talk about it. And I think that's where the problem is. It's just like we kind of like got to look at it as game tape. But the only time we do that is during like sports or sports events like boxing or basketball or football, where we just look at it. Our which is why like sports is so important to young boys because one it's one of the best ways to get your emotion out as a kid, especially as a boy, because sometimes you do get angry. And instead of taking it out on people, you take it out on the sport. If you boxing and something piss you off, he's like your mentor is teaching you to hone that energy and then like put it on the bag. So now you're just punching the hell out of the bag. You're getting all that anger out, and then you feel better at the end. Which is why I've always said I think most houses need punching bags for men for when they get angry. It's like, oh, are you angry? Go, go put some gloves on, go put some tape on, and go to the punching bag until you get your shit, and get the shit out. I think there'd be less holes in the wall, and then I feel like as men we wouldn't be abusing wives. I don't think it will prevent, but at least you have something to let your pain out. So you put a punching bag in a house, let them punch the bag out. Just get that shit out. And then talk about what's bothering you. And now people are opening up more. So I think we're able to see that. So I am proud to say that there are some women that's just like that we finally got these men to open up about their emotions, and then like I can't just be doing that shit. So that's why, or like making them. I can speak. These women are happy that we're finally opening up, but they also know that some of these women use it as weapons against them, like something to use against them. And honestly, that's why a lot of men don't like opening up to women, even their own significant others. Women, if you want to know why a lot of men don't do that, because something I use it as a weapon instead of understanding your focus. But we're not going to get into that. I want to show you this video that I think is one of the sweetest videos of all. Because one, it shows how much you need your father in your life, and especially when you have a good father. Because I know a lot of people say, I know there's people with fathers in their life. I'm talking about the good fathers. And I think we all know what we talk about. When you have a good father that's actually there for their kids, that actually wants to see their kids nourish and grow. This is what happens when you see good. So I'm going to play this video. I think this is one of the sweetest videos I've seen. And it's just watch. I'm pretty sure some people don't seen this, but just watch this video.
Alright, I don't hear nothing. Let your dad fix that. Go over there and see your daddy. Let him fix that. Fix it. 1, 2, 3.
What you crying for?
1, 2, 3.
What you crying about?
1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3, 2. There you go. 1, 2.
Okay, so you
1, 2.
something left until you say something.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
Bye. Run. Go.
Good. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Go around with your brother anyway. One messed up, everybody go. Everybody go. Go. Go.
Come here. What you crying about? You still don't know? Huh? Go faster. Hey. You know why you're crying now? What's up? Why you crying? Good. Why do you do that? You know why he hit you in the eye? Because you didn't have your hands up. You understand?
1, 2, 3.
He's trying to teach you why your hands need to be up.
Good.
So
1, 2,
next
3.
time, if he hits
1, 2, 3.
you with the phone,
Ah,
it won't hit you in the eye because your hand be up. You understand?
Good. 1, 2, 3.
Put your hands up. I hit you in the face. Now put your hand back up.
Come on.
Your hand is better block that shot. You understand? That's why you got hit in the eye. What you gonna do with his hand? Say something. What you gonna do with his hand? You gonna put it up now, right? So that way you don't get hit in the eye. You understand?
Elbow.
That's why you got hit in the eye. He wants you to learn to put your hand up so you can protect yourself. You was crying, right? Show me you mad. Here you go. Put your hands up. Hand up. Hand up. Boom. There you go. All right, now I want you to block a shot. I'm finna try to hit you, okay? You ready? Boom. All right, now throw a punch. Throw a punch. Throw a punch. Boom. Boom. Good job. Hand up. Boom. There you go. Throw a punch. Boom. Boom. There you go. Hand up. Boom. Throw a punch. Boom. Boom. There you go. Boom. 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 There you go. Boom. Here we go. Boom. Boom. There you go. That's why you got hit in the eye. He wants you to learn to protect yourself, okay? You all good now? You can hug? All righty. All right. Go back in time. Go ahead.
Keep your hands up.
What can you say? It's just what can you say about that video other than like it's one of this. That video is just sweet. It's just the father was patient. Like, and he explained to him why he did it. Like, he let the kid cry it out. Not only did he let the kid cry it out, the little kid was able to explain why he was sad, and y'all seen it, and then like taught him a lesson. So that, like, when you see that right there, it's just sweet to look at. It's just sweet to look at. and you see him learning. You see him learning from his lessons and all that other stuff. So it's just one of those things where that right there is showing you like him manning up, but he also recollecting what you are doing, right? So I'm sorry, I'm looking for a video that let me stop because I can't find it. Can't find it. Oh no, I think I know where it goes. Um, but you see that the way he handled it, the way the father handled it with the child, the way the father handled it with the child, he let him cry it out. Then he recollected on what he was learning, and he told him like, "Why'd you got hit in the eye?" He explained to him why he got hit in the eye, so that way you can learn from your lessons. All right. Again, so like he sat there and he like the kid recollect of what he learned, so he know not to put his hands up, so he won't get hit in the eye. It, you see what happens when like like I said, when you have good fathers in your life and all that other stuff, and things like this happens, and this is what. But this is also him telling him to man up without saying man up, and this is what I mean by like you got to see the shit through, but at the same time you get to recollect on what you was doing. That was just like in live and in person, but most of the time you just hit that when you hit that afterwards. Most of the men I think a lot of people don't do that after, and I feel like that's where sometimes it's being fucked up at. So um please let it be. Let me focus on this because I know it was another video. It was like Tamara, because it was like Tamara. I think it was Tamara Hall, and I forgot to do, but I forgot to do his name, and I meant to save the video. But he was talking about those mantras, like you know, what doesn't kill you make you stronger, and all that other stuff. He said those are bad mantras we are feeding to the children, and I disagree with that. That's the video I was looking for, and I was trying to find it. But I disagree with that because again, these sometimes it does. It's like what kill you, what makes you stronger, not from a saying experience, but from like even from a life experience. It's just like you know what that pain is, you know what it is, you know how to prevent it or what you're going through it, and it does make you strong. Some things in life, I feel like as men we have to pursue. And it's going to hurt us. It's going to like we're going to not sometimes we're going to fail. You know, as Kevin Samuel said, sometimes you're going to have to fail sometimes just to understand what failure is like to just to succeed. There's always going to be someone better than you. There's always going to be someone bigger, stronger than you. But you got to But if you know have faith in yourself, you're gonna have to push through that shit. Sometimes, hell, um, going in the Navy and going to swim class, I failed to swim the first time, even though could swim, but I will always swim underwater. I couldn't swim in regards to how the Navy wanted me to swim, and I felt the fuck out of it. I remember going to that half dive the first time, thinking I could swim. Push me. First off, I landed in the water bad. I didn't hurt myself, but I landed in the water bad, and I was struggling in the water to where they had to get me. So they put me in this kiddie pool with all the other black people. It was like all the black people and one Asian dude. So I had to learn basic swim lessons, and which I'm glad I did because um even if like I knew how to swim and all that other stuff, I didn't know how to properly swim and how to properly float. So basically they have a class where not only that you properly float, but you properly learn the basic swim, which is swimming on your back. You lay on your back and then you swim. That's how they was learned. That's what they learned. And the one thing I always tell you, kick your feet. Remember to kick your feet. So always kick your feet. Now, I was doing that. I was The first time, a couple of times where I was getting it, where I was actually doing the swim motions and I was doing real good. The lady was just like, "You don't need to be here. You need to be out there." So the lady, she was just like, "Oh," she thought it was time for me to go and do it again. Now you have to swim an Olympic sized pool to pass, right? So I had to now the way it was the first time I had to take it, I had to make a left and then go straight up. But this time, because they had to, you know, there was like three stages you had to pass for the swim course. So it's like the first thing is to swim. The second thing is a 5 minute float, and then the third thing is just like you take your coveralls and you use that as a flotation device to keep you floating. So the when I finally got back up there, I'm not gonna lie to you, there was again all the black people, damn near all the black people was there, which is a damn shame. I never felt so embarrassed as a black man than watching a bunch of my black peers us not knowing how to swim. But and we all joined the Navy. But anyway, I go back up there and there's this dude behind me. Now this man had muscles on top of muscles, but he was scared shitless. He was just scared shitless. And like they had to shut him up because he was just like, I don't know if I could do this, man. Because I think not only that he was afraid of heights and why he was afraid of water. So me, even though I'm afraid of heights, I wasn't afraid going up there. I was nervous though. But the second time he pushed, they don't push you, they must nudge you. So, but they tell you to put your feet on the edge and then like they nudge you. So when I got nudged, and I landed correctly. And this time I didn't flip out. So I was just like, all right, kick my feet and then do the little swimming motion. Because the basic swimming motion, it works in every angle, right? So I did the basic swimming motion. So I finally reached the surface and the guy was like, swim on your back, swim on your back. Now me, I didn't swim on the back. I did like the front crawl swim, the regular swim joints you see at swim meets, and I did that because you could do whatever you could as long as you get to the other side. And I started swimming. And I started swimming on top of the water to where they could see me because it's like you can't go under, but you had to like they have to show them how to swim properly. So I did that. And like I'm not gonna lie to you, like that shit was tiring, but I pushed through it. And I was like I started feeling it at the halfway, like through the halfway mark when I had to make the turn, and I was like, all right, make the turn. And then that last half, I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling it, but I just kept us like, I gotta push through this shit. And me, I'm stubborn. I don't care what anybody say. I'm a stubborn motherfucker, and I kept pushing and I kept pushing, I kept pushing until I finally reached the wall. He was like, "Yo, you got balls, kid. Get the fuck out the pool." I was happy as hell. I was like, and I wanted to do it again. I'm not gonna hold you. I wanted to do it again. But and because women actually got me in good shape, to tell you the truth. Also did two 5K runs. The first 5K I did terrible, but the second 5K run, I noticed a significant difference to where, first of all, I hate running. I do. I hate running. But I did two 5K runs. The second one was voluntary. I didn't have to do it, but I was like, running, but I was in real good shape where I kept myself active. If I wasn't doing running, I was doing DDR or some shit like that. And like I don't care anyway. Say Dance Dance Revolution, you just get your sweat on. I was getting my sweat on. I was like playing DDR like every day, so I had some endurance and I could jog better than I was. So I was actually doing good times. The second time we got there super late, so the timer already started, but as I was jogging, I was like, and a couple of people was jogging. I was fucking man. I was a gazelle. I was like, this is the best I ever felt. I was like a gazelle, and I was running through. And next thing you know, I ran a good time. And the weirdest part about that is because they say start running until you get your runner's high. And if you understand what a runner's high is, it's just like it wants you to keep running. Once you get into this I caught that at the end, and I jogged all the way home. I have never like I said this is like I was 20 at this time. And I jogged all the way home. It was just like I was just in that runner's high where I was just like real just I was working like because this is like the healthiest ever. I was like if my peoples could see me now, I because I felt the run twice and then the third time I was like I'm not feeling this run. Like most of my time in boot camp was just like I'm not feeling this, I'm not feeling that, and like I was like, fuck it, I gotta man up and go through it, and I just pushed myself. It's just like push myself to where the third time I did pass, and everybody was like, "How did you do?" It's just like I passed, because everybody wanted me to pass. Nobody didn't want you to fail. So, and even then, it was like um going through my um um test with becoming a home maintenance technician. Like, and I was like, we're going to pass this, and it's just like this mantra. And I remember the day before I felt depressed. I was like sad, but I was just like, if I really want this job, I need to sit down, buckle up, and then learn this shit so I can pass. So when I sat there, and on the third time I passed, I was so relieved. And then like I was able to tell all the people that yes, I passed. I'm going to be an HT, and like I did my job. So most of my, so I can say this is just like most of the stuff that didn't kill me and made me stronger. Most of the stuff that I was worried about, I pushed through and I manned up and I did it. And my thing is now, like you get to sit there and you recollect and you get to tell these stories. And this is where the recollection comes from, where you got to tell people to tell these stories or some shit like that. Now, again, I think kids in these days it needs this toughness. Sometimes you need to hear this shit, even though like I get into this argument with women all the fucking time because it's just like you think I'm coming from a higher place. But it was like, no, sometimes that is the answer. Like I got into a lot of it's like, yo, you have options upon options upon options. You're not stuck like you think you are, but you not to but sometimes I'm not gonna sit there and let you sit and bitch because there's people that's just figuring out right now, why can't you? And I've had my debates. It's just like some people are not in a predicament, and I was like, that's bullshit. And maybe that's just the old way of thinking. I understand this. Like, I'm not in other people's position. Hell, like I would, like even when getting my fucking birth certificate and my ID, state ID, and getting my social security card during COVID, it was one of the most strenuous eras now because it's just like I needed one to get the other, and like the shit was just hard to get, especially during if you know how COVID was. It's just like, but I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna let this shit kill me. It was like I feel real like I don't feel as a man right now because I don't have none of this shit, and I'm just like I feel like I was leeching off of my peoples. But once I got the shit, I got a job. I started working, and then I started working, then getting better jobs to where I got a better job now. But I sat there and was like, I could have gave up. I could have, but I was just like, no, your day will come, and then your shit will push through. So me manning up through all that, I was like, I had to man up. I had to push through this shit, and then, like so that's why it's just like when you feel like you're I'm not gonna say success story, but when once you push yourself through that shit, you want to help others do it. So, and I think, and this is another problem as with us, it's just like we're there when they're going through it. Are we there when they're like finally push themselves through it, and then can we talk about it? Because that's another thing that's just like, damn. Like, and I feel like that's where a lot of people's problems is. It's just like, can I sit there and recollect about it? I said, because sometimes you do need to recollect with somebody about this shit. Like, I can't believe I went through this. Like, boot camp is happy because it's not just you going through boot camp. It's you and 80 other people, and other people that graduate. You know, sat there and you get to talk about the shit you was going through. When I graduated boot camp, which another thing I had to man up through, because I was graduating, and I was like, I'm pushing through this shit. Um, like I had to man up through that shit. I was just like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, and I'm glad I did it. But even then, it was like you had other people to recollect it, and then they gave you um, liberty, which is like you get to go out. So I'm going out with my parents, and I'm talking to them about what's going on through boot camp, and then because my parents was there, they saw me graduate, and also going out with some of your boys, and then like we're in our uniforms, we're in our sailor uniforms, and we was just talking about the shit we was doing through boot camp and all that stuff. And then like the last day, some people you get to go, some people went to Florida, some people went straight to the boats, or some people they had school that they had to go to before they went. Um, they had school, the specific school they had to go to for the specific rank before they went to the boats. And like some of them you never see again. So it's just like, damn, you might never see these people again. But even then, it's just good to recollect on some shit like that. So I always tell people like, man, there's nothing wrong with manning up, but it's just that it's just something that I feel like as black people we need to recollect on, or especially like, do you have someone you just sit there and you just talk your problems out, or even then it's just have a regular conversation where you get to be in a safe space and you just got comfortable enough to air your shit out. Because even then, and I'll leave this, and this happened like weeks ago. I'm on the metro. I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. Like I don't know this hole in the wall, but he had some good news, and he wanted to express this good news to me. And his whole thing was like he was an electrician, and but he didn't have a car, so they was taking him to places where it's like he would either have to Uber or take the metro. And like he wanted somewhere closer where he didn't have to Uber. So I guess he made some phone calls and all that other stuff. And they finally gave him something that's like closer where he didn't have to Uber and shit. And he was like, bet. And he took the job. And he was so happy that he told me. Again, he don't know me, but he sat there and you know what I did? I sat there and listened. I said, that's what's up. Hey, you ain't got to pay them Uber fees, man. I know Uber gets expensive sometimes. Hey, man, yo, good luck to you. Good luck. You're like, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. He got off the metro. He said, I'll see you later, bro. Nigga didn't know me from a hole in the wall, but you wanted to express it. You could tell the happiness in his face. Now, what if I said, nigga, I don't fucking care? What if I would have been that asshole and been like, nigga, I don't fucking care? It's like, and you like, he sat there and it's just like he saw the good in that. And to me, that was just, um, it put a smile, to me, it put a smile on his face. It's just like he's happy. Like you don't tell no, you don't really tell regular people that, but he was so happy he wanted to tell somebody. I guess I was just the first person there. And I've always said this, for some reason people open up to me. I was like, and I always look at it as a blessing because like most men don't open up. I do agree with that. Most men don't open up, but when they do, it's just like you just sit there and listen. And something, and I think this is why like a lot of people gravitate towards me because I will sit there and listen. You, some people just need someone to lend here, and but also like that's your recollection. I think to me it's just like your recollection all those things. Like my man, he graduated for something. He was like, "Thank you, bro," and he talked about how like going through that is going to help him in his future and all that other stuff. And I said, "Hey, man, just as long as you apply yourself, do the shit." He's like, "Thank you, bro." And then like he got into an argument, and his girl was talking about, "Oh, you just did this little thing." I was like, "Yo, why would you do it? Why would you do that?" That man was so happy about that. Which is another thing. Like a lot of people just don't kill a person's happiness. It's like that shit is, woo. But yeah, in conclusion, man, it's like there's nothing wrong with manning up, but I think we just got to be in a place where it's a man can recollect on his action or anything that he does. Because when he does man up through it, I'm pretty sure he wants to sit there and just talk about it and all that stuff. So, which is, I feel like we need to do more. So, that's all I have to say about this. Um, I'm gonna turn this off and then I'm gonna talk about something else. But I wanted just to get this out the way. Let me know what you guys think. Till then, my name's Oski Fly, and I'm out. Peace.